good.
I had my other things open. I was sitting here. I don't know, just always multitasking, Mary, always multitasking. All the people are like, oh, you can't be effective multitasking. I'm like, I don't know. Does that mean bringing it down to like from multitasking 4 things at once to multitasking only 2?
Right. I think we've all done it. If mom is one of your titles, then you always done it.
Well, that's true. Yes.
And if you add,
it's like that thing of if you need something done, ask the busiest person to do it.
I've never heard that, but
yeah, I will not have 30 seconds wasted.
Yeah, the things that I always attribute a lot of that to my mom. Well, my dad both.
Mm.
I mean, before we would have the cleaning person come over, we had to clean our rooms, which I get. Before we went on vacation, we had to clean the house because my mom would not come back to a dirty house or didn't want to.
Those are good practices.
I absolutely get that. I am undone if I have to wake up in the morning and do dishes. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's funny because this household I'm staying with,
hey Dawn.
Hello.
Hey Dawn. Is not really that way. Like, I'm always the one that's like, no, we can't. You can't go to bed with dishes in the sink. You can't, like, I'm always the one. Like, you can't.
And I would guess that
you can't
mom
leave
of
clothes
6-year-old.
Yeah,
that kind of changes the game.
It does. Mom of 6-year-olds. You remember that falling asleep in bed with your 6-year-old who can't. He's there.
I let him in finally. I was like, you need to get to Michigan.
I'm like, no, we got to do it today because I'm going over to my mom's tomorrow and there's no internet there, so you won't see me for another 4 or 5 days.
Mary was just asking, when is Chris going out? We're like, oh, we haven't seen him in a couple of days. We lost track. So you flew out.
Yes, Thursday. And then we've been down
Monday.
And we've been down at her brother's in Detroit. Her mom's turning 80, so we've been doing a lot of that stuff, and it's just been, well, really busy in a good way. So it's like, oh, 5 o'clock just went by.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's been good. Yep. We've been down, we came up today up north, but we've been down with cousins and a few cousins and aunt and uncle to celebrate with them outside. The weather has been like beautiful. So it's really kind of made that happen. We didn't quite think that would happen. So yeah, so it's been good.
Yeah, all day yesterday we were at her uncle's and aunts, and then we spent like 3 hours at my sister's. They live like 10 minutes apart in this rural part of Michigan. Just randomly, they wound up living next to each other.
So yeah, it's good. It's good to have them in Michigan.
I bet. It's
good. It's nice not just to see her, but to be able to do this.
Oh,
yay!
It's good. It's
nice.
good. So
she's ready to leave now.
Are you still gonna go down to was it Nevada?
No, so that's been canceled. So I have another brother stepped up and he's gonna take them down now. And so I'm gonna come home a week from tomorrow, actually. So I'll spend another 8 days and then come home, and then Chris will spend another
like 8 to 10 days.
Yeah,
with my mom.
So yeah, but everything's under control. I've got a brother in Boulder that's gonna come in on the 10th of April for 10 days. And then he's going to take them to the airport and get them to the gate. They'll fly to Vegas and he'll go back to Boulder. So it's all working out where
they all fly to Vegas.
Yeah.
Parent handoff.
What's in Vegas?
So my brother's moving there right now from Southern Cal.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good. It's what they need for the current circumstances with family and getting out of California for some tax reasons. And so there's the big impetus for him to get out. So
her parents are there and she's got a sister there. So
there's family and proximity to his daughters that are still going to be in Southern Cal. So there's
Gotcha.
a lot. I don't think it's his choice, like, hey, I want to move to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Sort of. So, I mean, he had been talking about like 40 acres up in Michigan and they ended up in
Or-
Vegas.
Or in Washington.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Is the property in Vegas affordable? I'm sure it's more affordable than Southern California. Is
Yes.
that-
yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
For them, yes,
That's cool.
Yeah, so good for them.
Yeah. And
Oh,
good
that's
for
a
you.
lot going on, Dawn.
Lot going on. It's good to have a team member now.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yes, it is. It's much easier for everyone, but yeah, it's been a really good, fun couple days.
Mhm.
It's changed the pace for me dramatically, just having him here and then obviously seeing, family I haven't seen for 2 years and having just outdoor fun and lots of kids. So they're like, we're gonna play baseball, but only if you play with us, cousin Dawn.
Oh.
They did ask me. They asked her.
It was pretty funny, so it was good for me too, but
And her and my sister-in-law create a big scavenger hunt and throughout our in-laws' house or her brother's house for her mom for an 80th. So they had like 21 clues and then presents were hidden all over the house.
Wait,
So
so the
little
80th
riddles.
already took place, Dawn, or it's this
no,
weekend?
we're doing a full, this Wednesday in 2 days, so we
Oh,
just
okay.
did it with my brother, his wife and 2 of their grown children. But we
Mhm.
wanted, since we're not having a party, we were like, oh, let's do something different. So we came up with the scavenger hunt, which she loved. Just to
fun.
make it a bit uniquely different.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
That is fun.
awesome.
He was pretty happy. Once she got into the flow of it, she's like, oh, this is fun.
So was it like questions about her life or was it
No,
that kind
No,
of
it's
thing? Or?
all clues about where the location of the gift was. So,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, when I'm tired, I put my head here. I mean, some of them were very obvious and others weren't,
Right.
or,
Right.
or
so,
there are personal things that she would know, like she just had this conversation with our sister-in-law like 2 days ago. And so she just
so
asked her
there's
that
a
question. Yeah.
reference to that question.
Right.
So,
Right.
but we've been having we had like 3 or 4 days of like cake and ice cream. And there's more to come. It's getting fun, but I'm like, wow, I've not eaten this much cake and ice cream like ever. But every time we go to some place, right, they're like, they know it's her birthday, so they make her a cake or we've had a pie. And so again, on Wednesday, I've got a surprise drive-by. And one of
Go ahead.
her friends is bringing a cake. So we'll have cake number 5. So it's awesome.
Aw, that's
Fortunately for me
awesome.
fortunately for me being a chocolate freak, I'm like, yeah, I don't want the berry pie. That white cake, I don't need that. And then her aunt brings out the chocolate pie.
It's cool since we have such a big family and in normal circumstances, we would definitely have had, a very
large
large
gathering.
celebration. I mean, there's many aunts and uncles that aren't with us anymore. And so having such a, huge family, I know that there's some disappointment for her for that. So it's been good to have a few opportunities to see some cousins and,
Well, her sister came home and visited for a day.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's
That
good. And
sounds
then I've got-
awesome. And I'm so glad the weather's so nice because that just
Yeah.
is a game changer as well. When you've been living through.
Oh,
Yeah.
the winter.
Most of them have been vaccinated already because they're of that generation. They're 70 and older,
Mm,
but
Yeah.
you still have that.
yeah. So you're not feeling as nervous about that either, I guess. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's amazing. Whether it's overconfidently, confident, but just having them vaccinated has been such a relief to everything, right? To seeing people like my nephews who really, they're still working from home and their, exposure is minimal, but had they not had their shots, man, I'd feel really nervous, but since they
Yeah.
have it, I feel like, yeah, let's have birthday dinner. That sounds great. So that feels easier to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Easier to. The thing that we did on Saturday that was kind of interesting was that we did a drive around Detroit, both in personal memory lane and yeah, it's charging on the table and places in Detroit that they would know where they went. So we basically went to my mom's house where she grew up, which I knew very well. So that was really cool, right? We drove by, she'd been there about maybe 5 years ago. Then we went by my great uncle's house, and his place has changed tons. So, you just have all these memories. Like my brother and I were like, yeah, remember this, remember that. Super, super cool. And then we went by the house that us kids grew up in until we left Detroit. And
Wow.
that was, I mean, he's gonna get essentially, you know, like a city block would have maybe 12 houses, I think
Mhm.
is fair to say. And our side of the block is missing 5 houses. I mean, it's so mind blowing. Parts of Detroit, of course, are just so,
Yeah,
and so our house is still standing, but the house next to it's not still standing. And
yeah.
it's just,
And
it was cool to
what's-
go back and
what's
see,
there
but we're
in-
so, what's that?
What's there instead? So it's just like an empty space or? what?
Yeah, so I don't know for sure if it was this block or this section in Detroit as well, but what they did was really abandoned houses or houses that had been destroyed by fire, they wanted to get rid of them. So there was kind of a program, if you will, to go into Detroit, and not all of Detroit, but clearly on our block, where they just got rid of them. So there weren't, you know, they didn't attract rats, and they didn't have, you know, that,
Okay.
you know, the opportunity for anyone to just kind of like squat in it. I mean, it's just kind of so they're gone. I mean, there's just yards there, and, you know, they don't use the alleys anymore, but, you know, behind the houses, so it's all just like overgrown. And then
Oh,
it's
wow.
a pretty rough, I mean, the best way to explain it is like, my parents bought that house for 11,000 back in 1961.
Wow.
And they sold it for 8,000 in 1992. And its value now is 33. It's,
Right.
I mean, it's really sort of,
What's the
Yeah.
address, Dawn?
I'm gonna
Here
show, I have a picture for you right here. It's 11681.
Why'd you do that? I had it up there.
I'm sorry, but I'll show you. I have a video that I took when we were driving by down the
Show the-
block.
wait, then she
So
mentioned-
it's
Yeah.
worth $33,000
Yeah.
now.
So this is the house. Let me see where I can see this.
Oh, that's just how I
Lovely.
imagined it would look. That's
That's
So
so
lovely.
cute.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely, you know, cute for sure. So I'll just show you a video. I think I tried to get it because honestly, like, we would never drive here at night. So I was not a little bit respectful, I guess. I didn't want to be like, hey, I want to like walk down the street and like film all of this. We kind of just we did 2 drive-bys and then we left. But it's
Show
let's
me
see if
your
I can.
Or you tell me.
Let me start that again. I see that I could see it. Pardon my lack of. So there's empty lot,
Oh, wow, yeah.
empty lot.
Wow.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, the empty lots just look like,
Oh, this totally, like,
they just look
yeah.
like space. They don't look ugly or anything.
No,
Yeah.
but it's like, that's the house, but it's weird. Like, it looks like
Yeah.
we're kind of. It
Yeah.
gives you the sense that with all the big trees in the back, for me, it gives me a sense like it's almost like suburb sort of thing, but you're
Yeah.
not.
Some,
You're-
some of the areas have a
Guys,
lot.
I have to step away for just a second.
That's
You wanna
fine.
plug this back in, so you
What
No,
was the
no.
name of the street? 11681
Auburn.
Auburn.
Auburn. I was just
but
gonna look
like-
it up on,
So like the alleyways, like we used to play in these, right? So they just don't even use them anymore. They're just completely,
Well, the alleys were used, like, for my grandma lived in Detroit in a different part. That's where the trash pickup was. They
right?
didn't want the trash trucks driving down the main street, so they had alleys for trash pickup.
Mhm.
so my brother and I were, as we approached the neighborhood, we came in from the block before it, and I was like, oh, I'm like, this is where brother Scott, I'm like, this is where Scott got held up on his bike. He got, you know, like jumped, if you will, when he was like 8 years old
By 12-year-olds.
geez.
By 12-year-olds.
by 12-year-olds.
Oh, God.
And so I took a picture of that, and then,
Show it to them.
oh yeah, well, it's nothing too exciting. It was just, it's just where he got, it doesn't, yeah. But then it's on the alley, and then I took this picture of the alley,
Yeah.
and that's where I had my first kiss.
Oh.
Oh.
It was actually
There's
pretty
a
fun the way
memory.
she did it. She's like, I'm pretty sure he got beat up there. And her brother's like, no, and he pulls up. I think he got beat up down the alley. And she goes, click, that's where I had my first kiss with Mark Pion. And I'm like, what?
Anyway, so it was super fun to do that. I mean, for her and for my brother and I, for sure. And then we went to other places that weren't so.
Wait, how
so
many
fun.
kids were in that house?
There were 4 of us, 3 brothers
Four.
and myself.
I
And
just
so
looked
it-
it up on Zillow. It's 900 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think of my
How
family.
big is your
where we
apartment?
grew up,
How big is your apartment, Laurel?
Oh, my apartment is probably 1,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's what my parents grew up in that kind of.
So I have to go back to the house for a second. So we're at the house and we're like, oh, look at that, look at that. And then I said, oh my gosh, look in the upstairs window. And when my dad, so do you see the little circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the 70s, there was a program in Detroit that would put those stickers, which was the sticker that my dad put in the window, 1972 or whenever it was, that there were kids in that.
Right. It
that
was
area.
for the firemen, right? So the
It was
firemen
called a
window, there was a
Pathfinder.
child in that house. Yeah.
And so the sticker my dad put on back in
Is still there.
72 is still there.
Wow.
Oh.
So from there we went,
They live in the house now then, right?
do they live in the house now? No.
You don't know the people who live there at all?
No, we don't. So then
There's
we went to
pictures of it on Zillow that have inside photos as well, Don.
Oh.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, I will definitely go in there. We kind of kidded about it, but we're like, I'm not going knocking on no door. Just the fact that we were slowing down made us all like, yeah, let's just keep on going. So Detroit is of course trying to rebuild a lot of things. So this was another stop that we did. And this is the Detroit train station that
Right.
Ford Motor Company is.
Yeah, it's a famous
it-
building, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was built in Detroit. Yeah, so that's
It's-
funny that there's the big mural inside. It's just amazing.
So they're kind of doing like, obviously some rebuilding and that sort of thing. And then, I'll show you a picture, Chris. And then we went to a place called Belle Isle. Is it Belle Isle?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
the river.
And so that's looking back. I mean, Detroit has so cool. So that's us looking back at Detroit. I mean,
wow.
just despite like, maybe some image of
Hmm.
Detroit that people think of, it's such a
It was,
amazing.
yeah, there was a
amazing-
lot of money there back in the
Yeah.
20s to 50s and-
Have you ever seen the documentary about Grace Lee Boggs,
No.
who was a civil rights activist in Detroit? It was
Uh-uh.
made maybe like 5 years ago. She's
Okay.
Asian American, but she was very involved in like the Black Power movement in Detroit in the 60s. And then she stayed in Detroit. And it follows her around in like
Uh-huh.
her late 80s,
Hmm.
just exactly that kind of neighborhood where she's like walking around her neighborhood and it's like empty lot, empty lot, empty lot. And, here's where, the factories used to be. And, some of this, she's talking about it from kind of her personal history, having been involved in the civil rights movement, but
Civil
it's
rights,
really good.
yeah.
And it was a award-winning documentary.
Yeah, I
the
just
time.
pulled her up. I'll definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
Grace Lee
Yes.
Boggs. She's kind
There's
of like
some-
one of those civil rights figures that was so important at the time, but she's kind of been a little bit lost to history.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cause even I mean,
I
embarrassing.
think it might even be like on YouTube or something,
Okay.
you might be able
Yeah.
to find. It's let me see. Her name is Grace Lee Boggs.
Lee.
Mhm.
And let's see, the documentary is called
It is the
American Revolutionary.
American.
And it was 2014, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely check out. It was, once again, kind of going through it, it was like, gosh, it's such a unique place, right? Like so much struggle going on. And we were down in an area called Corktown and, that's been kind of rejuvenated by
Used to be-
Quicken Loans and other and then former
Mm-hmm.
athletes, right? No? Their investment into
Yeah,
that
it's
area.
the owners of the local sports teams,
Mm-hmm.
they have money and they've put money back into that area.
Right.
So slowly
Right.
coming back. But I mean, there's a lot of areas which are still very depressed and
Mm-hmm.
you drive, and I've driven through them before. There's these places where you'll go by 12, 15-room mansions. I mean, they're just, man, I can't even think of something. I mean, just think of a 15-room mansion. It's huge. And back in the 80s and 90s, you could probably get one for 10 grand. And you put that, you plop that in any other city and it's $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, so it's.
And there's tons of them. I mean,
So
there's-
some, it's funny how you drive by these neighborhoods. Some of them have been upkept, whatever, the people who stayed or moved back in, and then you'll go like a half mile and then those empty lots are not just lots. It's like a half acre empty.
Yeah.
Because it gets so dilapidated and dangerous that the actual fire departments were coming through and
And tearing stuff down.
tearing down, practicing fires and
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the main, I mean, for me, because I haven't been there since 90 or so, the main downtown, it's basically the development is pushing back out again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a nucleus that's bringing jobs, and there's some plants like that have been rebuilt back in there by the big three. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll take time.
Yeah. But there is that pulse that you can feel, you know, when you go through certain sections, and, you know, it has everything it needs. It's on a river, right? It has architecture, it has, you know, vibrancy just there. So it's just a matter of hopefully time to.
I mean, any downtown cities could be more interesting than a suburb.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but it's interest. I mean, I got, you know, because of its history with the riots, it just hasn't come back. Like, you know, I just spent a couple months in Milwaukee, which is a similar type of landscape, right? Where it's gone through people moving out to the suburbs, and now the downtown is, you know, the past 20 years it's been rejuvenated. But Detroit, I think, you
Well,
know, the flight
they
was
had-
so massive that it's
Yes.
had a harder time coming back. Yeah.
they also had some horrible mayors that
Mm.
basically drained the city of cash. Not only just like public services, we're gonna cut. The fire department would go around when they were doing jobs, and they're like, oh, that door on that house that we just had to put out, that looks like that'll fit the fire station. So they're taking doors off of condemned houses and bring them back to the fire station, so they have a door that works
Mm.
for that point. So there was,
Well,
a couple-
even
but I'm just talking a couple mayors that basically.
Yeah, well,
embezzled.
people like that get elected because there's no accountability, right? There's no
and then-
constituency groups. Yeah.
yeah, it is pretty
Yeah.
wild.
But how
It was interesting. So
bizarre to go back, yeah, and see.
Well, especially for her, I mean, I grew up outside, but for her as a young person, but for people who are like her mom or my mom, if she drives through there, it's just so different now than
Yeah.
what it was.
what they remember it to be, because they were, you know, they were teenagers and they
Or
knew
they-
that area.
yeah.
They were going down there. They knew the Hudson building. They knew the
Right.
places.
Right.
The Hudson,
Right.
it's amazing. The Hudson building's gone now. My mom's so upset about it. Just one of these huge architectural things that was built in the 20s that, I mean, it's beautiful, but
Right.
it wasn't taken care of for so long, and then
Right. Yeah.
hazard.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yeah, so that we got brought to Detroit on Saturday. That was really fun. And she loved it. She loved going down there and seeing all of that.
yeah, we went to the house that she grew up in, and one
Yeah,
of
I
her
was
uncle.
telling you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
sorry.
How did your dad do?
You know, he's just go along for the ride. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any feedback. No, I don't even think he even recollected the house. And I think part of that is because it does look different, even to me. If you would have showed me that house, that picture, I wouldn't have recognized it as our house at all.
'Cause
Not
there's
even close.
Yeah.
And you know, the porch is different, but also, yeah, everything around it. Yeah, he just kind of was along for the whole day. I will say that the best part of the day for my dad came much later in the day. We were back at the house. We had done the scavenger hunt. And there were balloons around, and I don't know if it was my nephew who
Yeah,
started it. He's like 26 or something, and he bounced a balloon at my dad. And this was the best part of the day for my dad.
Oh.
Face lit up. He was standing and he started, you know, hitting the
We all,
balloon with him. And then all of a sudden we're like, everyone's throwing balloons at him at the same time, right? He is bliss, like completely smiling,
he's
bliss, like
laughing.
so it was so great. Yeah, laughing. And we were all like, I've never seen dad act that joyful ever. I mean, not that he's a man, but so for him, it's all about like what he gets is what he can relate to, which is that like, oh, I can relate to that. I can be a jokester. I can make, but anything else is, yeah, there's no. So we didn't ask too many questions about the rides around, but
Yeah.
he just likes, he's a pleaser and he takes care of my mom. So whenever we do anything, he's just walk on this side of me. Let me get the door for you. Like he's
Yeah.
like that. So
You still cannot beat him in a game.
Well, you can't, Chris, but
No,
Dawn might
I'm
be
not
able
sticking
to.
a table in it. So we're playing this kind of card game that it's called 31. And so if you have like 2 10s and an ace, it's 31, and you lay that down and everybody has to give away a penny, and it's so you just play by that. So we play this, and usually it lasts like maybe 10 hands, 12. in 5 hands, we all lost because he got 31 3 times.
Which is, you don't even get
Which-
31 all
so-
the time.
So basically you have to give it every time you do.
We're like, he got 31. And then next hand, he's like, oh, he got 31. again.
So one of the times, because I said you knocked, so I have 28. I'm like, I think I'll get somebody on this. And I knock and they're going around and he's getting around like, you got 31, don't you? He's like, oh yeah, I do.
And that's, I mean, that's luck. I mean, that sort of thing is not really
He's-
even, but
yeah.
he's just so good at
He's
everything.
charmed.
Yes, he
Yes.
has a little charm when it comes to car and
Yeah.
skill, but it's weird.
Yeah.
It's totally, yeah. So, so with any activities that he does really fine with anything, it's just a matter of like, we know now we have balloons and we'll be playing more balloons now. It'll be a
Yeah.
good hand application because we've been doing things like that here, but a balloon, right? Well, of course, how obvious.
Actually, if
Yeah.
you saw him moving as an 83-year-old person, you'd be, and I'll give that to her, working with him all the time. He's on one foot, kicking and knocking. Like balance.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been very coordinated, but for being 83,
Right, right.
Yeah.
most 83-year-olds would have fell.
They weren't, yeah. It was pretty
Oh,
funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's
So
right.
do we do Dana for good or is she?
Yeah, I guess Dana, we lost Dana. I don't know what happened to her. This happened the other day. She was here and then we waited around for her and she never came back.
Just wanted to say hi.
Was she at home or
Okay.
was she in her thing? Was she?
I
in her,
don't know. Was she?
Looked like
where
she was
was
in the
she?
studio,
Yeah,
in the backyard studio.
backyard studio. Yep.
Hmm,
Looked like it, but
hmm. Well, should we get going? I'll tell everyone that Rosalind got vaccinated.
woo!
How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm okay. I feel better today. And yesterday I was feeling better, but I couldn't come on last night because I was preparing a presentation. But yeah, I was surprised at how ill I felt on Saturday. And by Friday evening I was feeling dodgy, but it's great. But it's great now.
Second or first?
First,
The first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's-
So I
it's
think
exciting.
Yay.
half the population has been done now. So it's, yeah, everybody's.
Half
feeling-
of the UK has been done now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow.
Amazing.
That is all. That's pretty impressive.
It is, considering that like my parents haven't been done in Ireland. I mean, and the rest of Europe is really in a really bad way. And so, yeah, I just got a text from my aunt who's like 70. She's like, it's not fair. My 52-year-old niece is done. Like,
Oh,
she's annoyed.
Well, yeah, it's even from state to state, it's so different here. I mean, like Michigan is starting with 50-year-olds in a week or so, and I don't think we'll be eligible to May 1st.
Right.
It's
Abby got hers yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So-
she did. Nice. Good.
Wow.
Yeah, she sent me a picture. She finally got back to long saga, but finally got back to Eugene. And I have had next to zero communication with her. And she texted yesterday and a single picture. And the one thing she said was, I wanted you to be the first to know. And of course, I'm like, fuck, it's a pregnancy test. I'm like zooming in as big as I could. I'm like, oh, I know that little form. Oh, okay.
that'll come later, huh?
What is she?
All perspective. Yeah.
Yes. All right, here's our Dana back.
You
She's
are.
back
Sorry,
just
that
in
was
time.
the nurse from the VA in Palo Alto where my uncle is, was calling to tell me he has dementia and he's in a VA ward. And last Friday, they don't use the word escape, they call it elope. So, right, I know, I thought that was kind of funny.
Who did he
So-
elope with, I
Yeah,
wonder?
but that's what I was
Right.
thinking. Who did he take off?
He
with?
eloped with himself. He wanted to
Okay.
be, he went walkabout basically, and they found him, thank God. But they were just giving me an update on that, and I wanted, sometimes it's hard to catch them, so I wanted to make sure
Oh,
I.
that's nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
You- That's Paul Mitchell, by the way, Mitchell's,
Oh, Mitchell's.
The Mitchells from
the Michigan Mitchells.
Oh, Mitchell's. I got you. First you Paul Mitchell, I was thinking hair.
Yeah.
I know, me
Right?
too. I was like, the shampoo?
Shampoo guy?
What?
Oh, right, that's right, I
And
forgot
I was
about.
like, Mitchell, Kate lives on Mitchell.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to the hair first. I'm like, no, she's not talking about that.
I got you, the Mitchell, the Michigan Mitchells.
Michigan Mitchells, okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's
Thanks for-
awesome. For sure.
Well, we were just about to
First.
do our thing.